So this is just a quick review of or overview of how images get stored and the differences you might see um, in an image. The image I have here on the screen was taken with a camera, went to Google Photos, and if you look here, just turn off Skype. Cool. Cool. So this is an image that I took at our offsite at the power plant. Jose and I, if you look at this image, the image came in and it was about 4 megabytes, 3.98 megabytes. There are, let's see, just so I have a little bit of a place to write, I'm going to just fake it on PowerPoint. There are a number of types of image formats that are there's a few most common types of image formats. There is a JPEG, which is basically the old photographic standard. There is GIF, and you guys may have seen GIFs in the past where they're kind of animations, but this is basically it's an old standard for screen images mostly is what it was built, and it's usually at 256 colors only. There is PNG, which is a new standard for screen images. There are a number of RAW formats. Sometimes it's called RAW. Sometimes it's called TIFF. There are other names for it, but RAW and TIFF are the most common. And then there's a new standard called, I think it's WebP. And I actually don't know a whole lot about what WebP uses under the hood. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at JPEG first. So actually, the first thing we're going to look at is going to be image resolution. And size. And so I'm going to convert this to there's one other file format that is, and this is a standard format. It's called BMP, and you'll see that on old raw Windows format. So if you guys have questions, ask questions because it'll be useful. And I really don't mind people asking questions. And if I say something and I'm assuming that you're understanding what I'm saying, so I will get more annoyed if people don't ask and I have to come back and and fill in a whole bunch of stuff again because you didn't ask the question the first time. And guaranteed, if you've got the question, somebody else has a question.
I'm waiting for you to finish this part because I'm trying to figure out which is the best format to use for stuff like everything from PowerPoints to actually stuff that you put on the web.
Okay, so I'll talk about that. So here, this is this image that we have on the screen. If I were to take this image and I was to save this image, and right now I'm using this thing called EarthenView, which is just it's a free. And let me just do this so that we are. I'm going to rename this. This is going to be a DJ.jpg. So that's the image. If I save this image as a BMP, Windows bitmap, and I look at the size of it, you can see it's 36 megabytes. And that 36 megabytes is because if we look at the image, information, it is 4,000 by 3,000 pixels. And there are current colors, 24 bits per pixel. So if you just do the math and you say 4,000 times 3,000, that gives us 12 million. And what did we say? We said 24 bits per pixel. There are 8 bits in a byte, so that means there's 3 bytes per pixel. So this is 12 million 12 million bytes, sorry, 12 million pixels, and times 3 gives us 36 million bytes. So if you look here, this is exactly 36 megabytes, 36 million bytes, with 54 extra bytes. And this is just a viewer. If we were to look at this, and that 54 extra bytes, 54, this is 16 across, 54 divided by 16 is 3 and a little bit. So right now, like all of this stuff is just header information. It's just basically, as you read the file, you can see that it's a bitmap, and then this says information about the bitmap, how many colors per byte.
Just curious, Dave, how'd you pull up the source code?
So we have this program, and we have a license for you if you want it, called Total Commander. Total Commander has this, and it's not the source code, it's the raw byte data.
Okay.
And Total Commander has this function called lister. Lister is just built in, and you can come in here and there's a view command. I don't even know where view is. Oh, sorry, it's at the bottom. F3 is view, but I just hit F3, and lister says, "Oh, I know this is an image, so we can view the image right here." But then I said, "Well, I want to see it in a byte by byte format, so I can see it like that." So all of this data is the individual bytes of that image.
Cool.
So the uncompressed size of this image is 36 megabytes. From my camera into my camera on my phone took a took this and compressed it using JPEG and a certain type of compression algorithm. Now, with JPEG, we can save this as different size JPEGs. So let's come here and we'll go to JPEG. And then you can see it brings up the save option. So I can say use 100. 100 is the highest. It's the best. So if I save this as DJ-100, and I look at the size of it, DJ-100 is 6 megabytes. I don't actually know what my camera probably used 85-ish, if I had to guess. Now let's go back to the original. Oh, sorry. This is perfect. Yeah. File. Let's say I want to save it as using only 50%. Let's actually go way down. Let's say I want to do it using 10%. So this is trying to compress 90% of the information out of it. So I'm going to call it DJ010. Now, if I look at that, DJ010 is 296K. Okay, well, why don't I just use that? Well, if I zoom in on Jose's face, can you guys see that it's pixelated?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm very ugly.
Well, while it's now, if I was just putting this in on a web page at this size, this might be good enough. And interestingly, if I was to put this side by side against the raw image, give me 1 second, please. Something weird is going on. That's what I don't want to do. Sorry, something weird is going on with this computer, probably with power choice. Let's come back to it. Something strange is going on. Anyway, so I just bring this into OpenView, and we look at it side by side. You really can't tell the difference, right? But if I was just to grab my head here, and I was to grab my head here, you still can't tell the difference. So, actually, you can. Up here in the image, you can kind of see that it's a little pixelated. And then
even on your chin and stuff, in your forehead.
Yeah. So if you look at my eye, you can see here this is pixelated. But on the original image, if you're trying to load something on a web page, loading 296K is going to be a huge, much faster than 6 megabytes or even 4 megabytes, much less the 36 megabytes uncompressed. So as you compression with JPEG, you get smaller file sizes, but you start to lose resolution.
But hold on, are you really compressing, or are you simply reducing resolution?
Well, you're not. Actually, you're not. You're you're compressing, but you're not changing the resolution. It's if you were to look at you start to lose fidelity, not resolution.
Okay.
So, and I'll explain that in a second.
Yeah, because you can't go back. Once you've reduced it to 10%, you can't bring it back to 100%.
Right. So look at this. This is actually kind of interesting. So if I take this and I say File, Save As, um, and I put this all the way down to 1%, and I say DJ-001, what did it compress it to? It compressed it to, hold on, it compressed it to 100K, which is tiny. What does the image look like? That's awful, isn't it? Like,
It conveys the story, but it
it
looks
conveys
terrible.
the story, but it's really, really, it's the fidelity is bad.
Right.
So with JPEG, let's go back to the original image again. And I say, what people generally do is they say, I'm going to do it somewhere north of 70, 75. So if I do it at 70, DJ-070, it knocks it down from 36 megabytes to 1.5 megabytes. So it's almost a 25% compression ratio. And as I zoom in, it's still pretty doggone good. Okay, so that's kind of how JPEG works. And I'll actually put this into here. So resolution. What is resolution? Resolution is basically how many pixels. So imagine I've got an image and I've got this size by this size. And for our image, for our Jose image, we had insert text box. This was 4,000 pixels. That doesn't let me do it. Control Shift. So it's 3,000 pixels up to 4,000 by 3,000. And we had 3 bytes per pixel. So something we could do if we took this here and put it into OpenView. This is the original image, and I was to change it, and I was saying, I want to color corrections, decrease color depth. Instead of using 24 BPP as bits per pixel, I can say 8 bits per pixel to 256 colors. So I'm going to do that. save as a bitmap 256. And now you can see that it's 1/3 of this full size of this original image, right? And this is, I'm going to do this 3 bits, 3 bits per pixel. And this is 1 bit per pixel. Is this, am I like way over your heads here, guys? Is this,
No.
okay, good. So now if I zoom in, you can see that the image here, it's not pixelated, but you can see that the color is depth isn't all that great. And Gary, this is probably very similar to a lot of stuff you did with colors and cards and other stuff. You've probably seen some of this stuff before.
Yes.
So if I take this now and I was to say, I'm going to convert this and I'm going to decrease color depth and only have 4 bits per pixel. Well, 4 colors. This is kind of interesting. Colors. I guess, okay. It tries to match the best using the best color map, saying, well, how can I get as close to the image as possible using only 4 bits per pixel? So 4 bits. If you remember what 4 bits is, 4 is gives you 16 colors. You guys might not know that, Sam, but you should probably figure that out. 8 bits per pixel gives you 256 colors, and 3 bits per pixel, 3 bytes per pixel, 24 bits per pixel, gives you 16 million colors. So here you can actually see it's really, really decreased, right?
What you just explained is an aha moment for me because I've seen this before, where an image that was smaller just looked to my untrained eye looked really bad and color wise. Now I understand why.
Well, this is bits per pixel. But now you can see here, which is kind of cool, that this is half of the bits per pixel. Now, if I was to take that same thing and just do it and say 1 bit per pixel, image, decrease color depth, to 2 colors, black and white, that's 1 bit per pixel. And if we were to save that, I'm going to say, that's byte per pixel. I'm going to do that. And this is actually bits. This is 4 bits per pixel. This is 24 bits per pixel. 6, 4, and this is 08. And this, did I screw that up? Oh, that's 101. Yeah, so here you can see that this is exactly 36 divided by 24. So, and this little bit here basically says what the color map is and what the header information is. Okay, Lindsay, I haven't heard anything from you. I'm concerned that I'm going way over your head or you're missing something.
I'm following.
Okay, so So what we just did here was actually image color mapping. 1 bit per pixel to 24 bits per. Okay. Next, we have image resolution and size. So let's just use this bitmap. And these are all raw images. This bitmap is just the raw image. So now, if I were to take this and I was to resize it, image, resize, resample, and I'm just going to resize it. And I'm going to make this, we're going to do 1% of the original. If it's 1%, it's going to be 40 by 30 pixels. Look at that. So that's the actual size of the image. Maybe that's a little too small. Let's go back to where we were. Let's say let's do 10%. Image resize. 10% resize. Okay. So that image, and the option I have right now is display options. I say fit image to fit only big images. So that's the actual, it resizes it to that size. So if I do this, save as, this is now 24 bits per pixel, but dash 10%. So you would imagine that that's just 10% of the size, but it's actually not 10% of the size because what we did is we said this is going to be 400 pixels by 300 pixels. A pixel is just this box, right? It's how many of these little boxes do you have in here? So the question I have for you guys, how many boxes? Let's just make this a different color. Easier. So how many boxes in the dark? Jose, how many boxes are going to be in the dark one? How many of these little boxes? Any idea?
I'm trying to go back and do the math based on what you said earlier.
Okay, Lindsay, how many?
Is it just the area?
Is it just the area?
Like if it's 4 by 3, it's going to be 12?
So if it was 4 by 3, how many boxes in there?
12.
12. Okay. So hold on.
So it would be like 12 million,
Yeah.
which you had up there before, right? That's what I came up with.
12 million, right. So So how many boxes in this one here, Gary?
1200.
1200. This one, Sam, you got that answer right.
There she is.
About time Bradley showed up. And how many boxes are here, Jose?
I'm typing in it because I got it wrong last time. Is it 120,000?
Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros and a 12, so 120,000. So going down 10% here and 10% here means that this is going to go down 10 times 10, 100 times smaller. So our image went down from 36 megabytes to 360K. It's divided by 100. But what's the downfall of this type of image? Well, the resolution is much smaller, right? So if you try and zoom in on this, if you zoom in on it, you can see that it's again pixelated and it doesn't show. So if you, it's a smaller image, which means it's going to load faster, but the resolution is terrible, right?
So just so I understand, in the human environment, basically if we're creating like a thumbnail, that would be ideal.
For creating a thumbnail, so imagine imagine you are imagine your Google Photos. So Google Photos, when it creates images, all of these are thumbnails, which are very, very small and very, very efficient, so that it can send data very quickly to your web browser. If it was taking the full image, if each of these was 36 megabytes and being compressed on the screen, it would take forever to load a page. And we've all dealt with those web pages that are just sucky long web pages to load, right? So the idea is you want to for the right type of image, you want to use for the right type of use case, you want to use the right type of image. Let's come back to this. So that was JPEG. So do you guys understand the difference between image resolution now and image and the bits per pixel? Do those two make sense?
Yeah.
And image fidelity, you can have the same images. Let's look at this. If we were just to look at these, display options, view, display fit image. So this is if you look at the upper left corner, you see it's DJ100. This is the 100 JPEG. As we reduce the JPEG resolution, it gets worse. Um, and as we reduce the color resolution, it gets worse. And as we reduce the size, it gets worse. So I also put all these. So this is MD pixel, and this is going to be this one, this one, this one, this one. I'm going to put that one in there, and then this is MD. And here again, if I was to take this and do this file, image, resize, resample, and I was to do it at 20%, and I was to save it, save as 20%. You can see that it's divided by 5, divided by 5. But you can see the resolution here is, again, if you zoom in, it's because it's a smaller image. There's less data because it's small. So now there's something else that you'll see in the bad old days. Um, um, how do I explain the GIF? Okay, so in the okay, so I'm going to create an image that's a box, and we're going to, let's see, I'm going to fill this with black. Not a very interesting image, right? Um, um, if I was to save this image as a BMP, actually, let's just do this. Let's make this 400. If you look at the bottom right, you can see the size. 400 by, oh, I can just do this. Composition set. 400 by 300. And we've seen it before. That 400 by 300 wasn't a really large. It's not a big image, and it's all we're going to do is we're going to say what's in this box. So it's all black. File, save as. It's going to be an images GIF. We're going to save this as a bitmap. Give me 2 seconds. Hello, this is David Carter. Not needed. Okay. So, okay. So, who wants to venture what the size of how many bits are in a 400 by 300 uh, pixel image, Jose?
I believe Jose is on a call right now.
He is. He asked me to. Sorry, he's on a call.
Loser. Sam, how many bits are in 400 by 300? Sorry, how many pixels?
I was gonna say. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I thought you were in bits, so I calculated 2,880.
No,
2 million.
how
Oh, how
many
many?
pixels?
Oh, how many
400 by
pixels?
400 by 300. How many
Oh,
squares?
yeah. How many pixels? Then that would be 120,000.
Yeah, we've already done that math. So now,
I thought you were asking about the bit per pixels.
and 120,000, and we're using 24 bits per pixel. 24 bits is 3 bytes, so 3 times 120,000 is 360,000.
Okay.
And if you look at that image, that's exactly what you see, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Black. Now, the interesting thing in the bad old days of the web, there was, if you think about this, this is all black. So what GIF does is it says, what is this box up here? And how many black come after it? Well, in this case, it's 120,000 black, right? So if we were to save this using a GIF, save as, and we save this as a GIF, um, and black, open, sorry, I'm going to save it as a GIF. What size, if you look at that, it does an incredible job, almost 300% compression. Because basically it says, I've got one color and then continue in every single line, it's got the same color. If I were to take that black image and to let's put it into a different program. Let's just do a shape. Basically, it's going to be one, it's going to encode one bit for the black, then it's going to encode one thing for the white, and then again one thing for the black. So if I were to save this, black plus white, and I'm going to make this a GIF. Actually, let's first do it as a bitmap so we have the comparison. Save, and then save as GIF. You can see that it's very small. So what GIF does a really great job at is it does a fantastic job at things that have long sections of the same color. So I could do something, even something like this. Let's do some text. Um, this has just huge swaths of one color. So if I save it, save as, wow, save as, um, Awesome. Now, save. Okay. Then I'm going to say file, save as. Awesome. J, bitmap. Sorry, GIF. Save. And then we say file, save as, JPEG. And we're going to tell it to, and this program does the compression backwards. So 10%. So let's say we do 50%, which is actually a huge amount of percentage. So what the other program shows is 90%. This shows us 10%. So it's just a weird program, very old. So say. So now if we look at those three images, awesome. The original is the same. It's 300 by 400 by 300 times 3 bytes per bit, 3 bytes per pixel. The GIF is 8K, which is pretty small, and if you look at it, it's well, the resolution is good. The JPEG is a little bit larger, but only but if you look at it, let's see if I can zoom in. You can see that the color representation isn't perfect, and that's just because of how JPEG encodes. So the other image standard that you'll see, so JPEG was built to do things to sorry, GIF was built for things that have wide swaths of the same color. The other interesting thing about JPEG is you could do things like neat thing about GIFs is you could create these things called animated GIFs, and that's really what we see today. So if I was to do this, crop that, get rid of this. Crop. I'm going to save this file, save as GIF. Awesome. 2. And move this over. File, save as. Awesome. 3. Okay. File, save as. Awesome. 4. File, save as. Awesome. 4. Save. File. Sorry. Move this over. File, save as. Awesome. 5. And then there are lots of tools on the web that allow you to create animated GIFs. I'm just grabbing them randomly. So I'm going to grab awesome 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to drag these here. And you can set it up so that it loops, empty, delay time. And make a GIF. And then the nice thing is, and so that's how you used to make really old school animations. And this And if you look at that awesome animated file, it's basically the size of this one plus this one plus this one plus this one plus this one. You can see this is about 32K. So it basically compresses all those images together to create this animation. And the cool thing about Earth in View is you can actually extract those images if you want to. But if I was to take that original image that we had, this image, and I was to save it as a GIF, GIF is limited to 256 colors. So what is that going to do to my image? If I look at this GIF, what is it going to look like? Bueller? Bueller? Okay, so people aren't understanding something. What is not clear?
Your color palette is going to be reduced, so you're not going to have as richness.
So what is that going to do to the image?
It's going to degrade the image, to the fidelity of the image.
The fidelity of the image. Thank you, Gary. So if you look at it, again, we're back to like Jose's face having weird coloring. And that's just not because he's got bad tan lines, but you can see that it does compress the image. It compresses it by about 1/6, and that is because if you look at it, if you look at this image, like all these things have, it's like black, 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 green, 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 and so whenever it can see a line of those of similar colors, it's able to do some compression because that's the type of compression that GIF does. So now, let's just do this one. One of the things that you will see a lot on computers is this thing called PNG. PNG is it's a new standard for mostly lossless images, even though and lossless means that it has all the fidelity, size, and color that the original has. If you do screen captures or you do a paste into a Word document, very often you're going to get a PNG. And it does have compression. So let's just play with this. We're going to say 0 compression. One of the other things that GIFs allow you to do is they also allow you to save transparent backgrounds. Now, why is that important? Let me just go back to here. Let's say here, in fact, don't stack frames, make a GIF. If I wanted to, I could make. Let's see if I can do an effect on here. Is there a color presets transparent? Change. Here, replace color with transparency. I'm going to replace this black with transparent. So what does that mean? So now I could take this image that says Solaris is awesome, and I could put that over another image. And because the background is transparent, um, it would look like there's animation over another image. So that's kind of a cool thing that GIF has allowed you to do for, hold on, for a long time. That's awesome. Animated. That's something that GIF has allowed you to do for a long time. JPEG does not allow you to have a transparent background color, which has been um, one of the downfalls of JPEG. Um, PNG does allow you to have a transparent background color, so it's one of the nice things. PNG is also very portable. It's actually called portable network graphics. So if, let's just say DJ0, we're going to save it here. Then we're going to save. We're just going to save a bunch of these. Save as. We're going to say number one. DJ1. Save. And we'll go all the way up to 9. Just DJ2. DJ. Let's just do 6. We have all of them. 6. So long save file. Save as DJ-8. And I actually don't know the algorithm that PNG uses. I know there's a few different algorithms that it uses, but that's one of the reasons why it takes so long to do the compression. Um, wow, wow. Save as DJ9. Okay, so now if we come over here, and you can see. Images, PNG. Oh, this is still saving. Wow. This is a long save for. This is the maximum compression in PNG. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. Oh, there you go. You can see it doesn't do a whole lot of compression on the image. So this is. But you can see all of these are. Let's see if I can. Let's look at the difference between 9. So it seems to actually keep a really good amount of fidelity, but the compression time and decompression time is very slow. So this is used for for holding an image's quality, but not necessarily for compression. Now, one of the interesting things, if you go to Solaris.com and you were to look at, oh, you silly thing, inspection, and if we were to look at this, Originally, and I don't know if this is the case right now. Let's see. Let me just do this. Control F. Body. Copy. And now I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code. Oh, weird. What is this? Selection, edit. Okay. So this is the code. All of these files here are all of these images here are PNGs. Any idea why we have PNGs for all of these images?
Is it because of the minimum graphics required by the OEM?
Nope. The PNGs, we could actually put whatever format we want on here.
Then I don't know.
Keep the fidelity.
Not
Fast
fidelity.
load.
No, PNGs are very, very expensive. These are large images. One of the things that PNGs allow you to do, and I didn't say this, is that imagine we were over here. We're looking at this awesome that's awesome. This is black and white. Did I do a black and white BMP? There we go. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, yeah. So this is black and white. Awesome. Yeah. So this is the awesome BMP. If I was to save this as a PNG, I could save a transparent color like I can with a GIF. So
Background?
So now, so this is awesome PNG. So it does a similar job of compression like a GIF, but it allows you to have transparent backgrounds. Here, we wanted to have a white background for all of these. And do you see how we changed the background color? The only way we can do that is by creating the image in a PNG with a transparent background color. So that allows us to do this kind of highlight. So that's why all these images are PNGs, because it allows us to change the background color. And we could actually change it doesn't have to be between gray and white. It could be, we can make it blue or yellow or whatever on highlight. Now, these images, one of the things that our web developer did by accident is he made these images PNGs. And I don't know if he's actually fixed it. So let's go up and see. Go start. All the way to start. And let's see where the first PNG is. The first PNG is flags. So if you look at, go back here, all of these flags here are PNGs. And that's because there's also this weird transparency that happens with them. Let's see what else is in here. Those are the flags. These are language transparencies. Oh, look at this. So we're using Express Entry logo whites. Let's see, what is this? Express Entry logo. If we come back to here, this one, we have a transparent background as well, because we might want to change the background of this. So that's another place that we're using a transparency. So it makes sense to use PNGs some places. Here's originally, let's look at this. Here's a image, badge verification low res PNG. So if I look at this, this image here is, we're using part of it right here, right? You guys see that?
Yes, like a zoom in, right?
Lindsay, do you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I see.
prompt.
Okay. I kind of like hearing feedback. So here, this image, what we're doing, if I was to look at this and I was to save it, save as, new folder. If I was to save that image, that is 135K. If I were just to, let's see, we need this much of it. If I was to, and it's actually, let's go here. Let's look at it here. If I were to have just done this and shrunk it to and I was just to crop it to that, I would have saved half. So the web, just because of this, the web page, this part of the web page would have loaded twice as fast because it's only half the size. However, if I was to take that image and I was to save it as a JPEG, at 70%, it would have gone from 135 to 35. So it's a quarter. So, and you can't tell the difference between those two images. Maybe you can a little bit. This view, display options, fit images to window. So here, you can see that it's a little bit fuzzy on the screen, right? Can you guys see
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay. But considering that it's going to be really, really small, you probably wouldn't see that difference. And it would load 4 times as faster. And Google ranks you depending on how fast you load. So now, and I could have saved it file, save as. I could have just put it up to like an 85% JPEG. And let's see what I got here. 85, let's get rid of that one. And this is half the size of this. And if you just compare those two, it's almost identical, and you really can't tell. So just changing some files from PNGs to JPEGs is going to make your files smaller and load faster, which makes the Google search engine optimization go better. And sometimes if you're looking at a little image like this, you really don't care because it's tiny. And I don't know if he's fixed this either, but this image here was 4 megabytes. So it's a huge, huge load in terms of loading the web page. And you can actually if you look at console sources, performance, um, and you can actually do a profile of the website using Google Tools, and it'll tell you what parts of the website are slowing down your load. So it takes a little while to do the profiling, so we'll come back to it. However, there's a new format that's built for web pages, and it's built by Google, and it's called WebP. So the cool thing is, IrfanView can automatically convert these to WebP format. So I can say save as this WebP file format. And WebP has it allows you to do different things. It says, well, your default is it a photo, is it a picture, is it a drawing? And it'll use different types of intelligent compression techniques to do it. So if I use default with 75%, and I save that, and I look at the size of that WebP file, it is 28K. It's smaller than a quarter of this. So it's going to speed up the website 4 times. And it does allow you to have background. And if you want, you can change your WebP formats. So let's go back to the original. Options, file, save as. I can say I'm going to just use default, and I want it to be lossless. And that means it's going to be just as good as the PNG compression. And even lossless is a little bit smaller. But usually you don't care about that. Usually you are just fine with using, and you can play around with it as you're doing. You can say, well, this is a photo, right? Okay, so we know it's going to be a photo, and let's say we want it to be somewhere around 80. We want it to be pretty good. And these things you can play with or not. Most people don't care. And then this is photo dash. Oh, I want to click quality dash 80. And now if I look at that, so this is a little bit better than this, but it's optimized to be a photo, and you can see this is very clear, and you can even zoom in on it, it's still very clear. But just by doing that little bit, we've increased the speed of loading that web page up by 4, because this is 35K versus 135K. And imagine if you have something that is 4 megabytes in this web page. It's like every time you try and load something, it's going to be super slow. One of the things that Reiner made a mistake on, and this is something that Reiner and I have talked about, but he just wasn't aware of, is he was taking in these. I'm going to stop this. In here, he was loading a PNG into that image. And by loading a PNG, so if we open this image, Open that image in new tab. Save image as. This New York City. If we were to save this as a PNG, and this is what happens if you just go to WordPress and you paste images into something. You will see that New York City PNG is 8 times as large as a JPEG. So, and sometimes what they were doing is instead of using this resolution, they were using a much larger resolution. Because like, I found this great image on the web, I downloaded it, I want to use the best image, but you want to think about how does that image get displayed and how big is it? Because what you want to be displayed on the website is supposed to be the right size for the purpose. All right. I've talked about a ton of different things. Do you guys have questions? Because I can't imagine that.
Dave, for me personally, the explanation on how to make the file smaller but still look good was what I benefited the most from. I'm definitely not going to do anything on the website. So
Sure.
yeah, but for me, now understanding that and now seeing when you made the picture of you and me look kind of weird. I've seen that before and I wasn't sure what the hell's going on. Now I know. But yeah, for me, making on PowerPoints and when I share information on documents, that's most important.
For me, it also understanding like which ones are going to load faster, so that way the website can load faster to which ones you're going to choose.
Yeah, for the website, WebPs are generally the best, but unless you need to have transparencies, and even then, the WebPs can now support transparencies. So
Also, they're like a step up of the PNGs.
yeah, the WebPs are the latest and greatest, but like Internet Explorer doesn't support them. So hopefully you don't have any customers looking at your website using Internet Explorer. Kind of an old technology at this point.
Right.
This is kind of an interesting thing, Jose. If I was just to take let's come over here. Let's say I copy this image here. I just do Control C.
Yep.
And I put this into Word. And I save it as download images, new folder, Word. We're going to call this DJ1, copy, paste. So what I just did is I copy pasted a file into Word. Where did it go? DJ1.
Word DJ1.
Okay, cool. So it's 15. By doing that, it's 15 megabytes, just putting that image into there. Now, if I do Word and I say blank document, and instead I take this image here, I'm going to say File, I'm going to save it as a JPEG. Come into Word. That's fine. And I'm gonna make this 70% because I really don't care that much. I'm gonna save that image in that directory. So it's 1.5. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say insert picture from this device. And I'm going to put that image in there. File, save as, images, Word, DJ1, insert image from menu. So now, if you look at those two files, look at what it did.
Yeah,
In
huge
fact,
savings.
huge savings. And often people be like, I have no idea why my document's so large. I just copy pasted it. Why isn't that the same thing? But it isn't. If you can actually go and find a compressed image and insert it, it does things much better.
Yep.
There are other cool things in Word, just so you guys know. So this is Jose's file with the copy paste. You can actually go into options and you can tell it, let's see, display, save. Advanced, maybe. Image size and quality. You can actually say, discard editing. You can say default resolution. I don't care. I'm going to make it 96 ppi is pixels per inch. Pixels per inch. And then you can do that. And then you can say file, save as 96 pixels per inch. And doing stuff like that will didn't seem to. Let me close it. Let's see if that does it. That didn't seem to save anything. So I'm going to show one last thing before I end. That's just kind of a random cool thing. Let's close you. A Word file, a PowerPoint file, and an Excel files are really just hidden zip files. So I'm going to take these two files. If I rename these docx files, which is the Word extension, and I rename them to zip, sorry. And you rename them to zip, you can actually go in and you can see the actual files that make up the Word document. And you can see here, there's this image in here that's your 15 megabyte image. So it's actually taking that image and storing it. So if I look at this insert image from menu, and I look at that media, it only has a 776 JPEG file, which is the compressed JPEG version that we inserted. So the interesting thing is you can actually see why when you're copying and pasting, when you just copy paste into Word, into PowerPoint, into Excel, it's super easy, super fast. I understand why everybody does it. If you're trying to save your files, those files so they're not these massive beasts, you want to make sure that you are inserting a file. You're going to the menu. You're going to the menu, and you're inserting a JPEG or a WebP or a GIF or whatever compressed image you want. Um, yeah. So that's. Any other questions? So Lindsay, the reason I did this whole training was because you said I have no idea how to optimize images for the website. Um, so now I guess the question is, do you have any idea how to optimize an image for the website?
I do. I meant more on like WordPress. I don't know how to go in there and like replace that image on the homepage, for example, with the cropped image. But I also just haven't explored that yet. But this was very helpful, especially with the what you said about inserting an image on the Word doc. I never.
Oh, did I break?
Hello.
Oh, sorry about that. I changed my connection so I could actually go into WordPress. Um, if I could actually type. Can you guys hear me again?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So if you go into the WordPress, sorry, I had to change my VPN so I could actually get into the WordPress from home. So let's say we are looking at a post and we are looking at um, you looking at this top 5 challenges and WordPress. So you guys can't see, can you? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So this image here, you can actually go into the website, click edit, and you can actually see the type of file it is. So this is why am I not image details? Where's the original? I should be able. This is featured image. So here it is. So this image here is a JPEG. So you can see what it is. You can actually come in here and you can actually upload a new file that would replace that file. Um, some of it is just you not having experience using WordPress.
Yeah, I know how to do it on posts. It's just like the homepage.
The homepage is a custom built homepage.
Yeah,
And it doesn't use the template.
exactly.
And that's the sort of thing that Kazi needs to fix. And again, you should be in communication with Kazi on a very regular basis. And as you find images and things that are large and slow, so if you were to go into that Ahrefs report, it would actually show you. Um,
Is Kazi's name on Skype Bluebird?
yes, probably.
Because I tried looking him up and his name is Bluebird, I think.
That one.
No, okay.
How do I share?
Oh, I found him, I think.
Okay, so got distracted what I was. So in so if you look at this and you were
Yeah,
to,
it shows the like what's slow on the website.
so what I deleted it. That's right. So if you go in, it actually gives you like it tells you what big files are the ones causing the biggest issues.
Mhm.
Um, and you should be able to work with him to get those things changed. It's like these are the big issues that need to be fixed on as quickly as possible. And these other things like the text and H1 tags, you should be able to fix very quickly.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Cool. All right. Sam, do you have any questions? This is probably a fire hose for you, but this is all good stuff.
No, yeah, it's been really informative. I enjoyed it actually.
The one of the things that you're going to see is you're going to see images that get associated to buttons and images that get associated to other things, and you're able to. Um, that's basically how links are done, um, and you can actually display those images in all sorts of weird and wonderful ways. Gary, anything? Anything?
You know what? Aspect ratio tends to mess me up if I'm doing stuff on Express RFID and I need to make it 600 by 600 pixels, and sometimes the image gets distorted.
Okay. Let me explain that then, because that's actually interesting. Fine. Okay. So imagine we have an image like this, and we're going to take this image, this bitmap. We're going to resize it. I'm trying to do things using the menu because I usually do it with shortcut keys. So it's just I don't know where the. We're going to look at this at 10%. So it's small. Okay. Wow. Save as. Aspect. So this is just an image that I have, right? What you can do is you can actually say image. When you resize it, you can set a new size that's a percentage of the original, and that locks the aspect ratio. And there's also a preserve aspect ratio. What a lot of people do is they say, I want this to be, they don't check this, and they say, I want this to be 200 wide. And then they say, okay. And you see what that happened there? You're only changing one size of the image.
Right.
So um, when you, if you're in PowerPoint, let's say, let's just do this so I can see it. I don't want to do that because when I paste that in, what does it do? It pastes that the entire garbage thing in. So I'm going to go insert pictures from this device and some downloads, images, Word. Okay, so here, when in Word or PowerPoint, if you grab these side images, that is going to change your aspect ratio. If you grab the top, it's going to change your aspect ratio. Sometimes, if you grab this, it will give you flexibility so that you can change both aspect ratios. Something is in here right now has it locked, but sometimes it's not, and it's really annoying. Sometimes you want to take an image, and let's say you've got something that's you want it to be exactly this size.
That's my thing. I'm trying to do a 600 by 600
Oh, hold
image.
on, just stick with me. Um, so there's the image that I want. So I'm going to make it transparent so you can kind of see, right? And you're like, well, I don't really want all the rest of this garbage here, but I want this part of Dave and Jose. And I actually want Dave and Jose to be bigger because they're the coolest guys ever.
I agree with that.
And you want to maximize it. So you figure out how do you get it to fit in there. And then in PowerPoint, you can actually click crop and you can crop it to a window. So that it's the right size. And then that way you're fitting it. The other way to do it is download images. You have some image editing program that you like. This is my old standby. And then I say, what is the palette size the composition size that I want to look at? Well, I want 400 by 300, or maybe I want 200 by 200. And there's a bunch of, I can't choose what image editors you're using, but it's one way to do it, is to use something like Image Composer, but there's lots of things out there. So now I fit that so you can see my image is so much larger than that little box, which is you see that little white box? That's the size that I want the image. So what I have to do is I have to say, well, I'm going to grab this and shrink it, bring it down here, bring it here, and I'm going to zoom in. And then I'm going to say View, Center on Selection. And the only reason I use this program is just because it's the program I've been using for 100 years. So it's easy for me, and I no shortcuts in it. And then you just fit what you're doing inside the crop area. And then let's go here. And now everything that's outside of that crop area is going to get cut off. So now if I was to save this file to JPEG, J. And if I were to go look at that in aspect ratios, there's the image. And it's cropped exactly as I would use it. So you need to figure out what tool you want to use. There's a bazillion tools out there.
So
Photoshop
if
is
I have
good.
150 images, I have to just do each one by one.
Well, if you're going from a 400 to 300, if you're going from 400 by 300 to 200 by 200, so it's not a consistent crop. You have to do some one by one. View has some really cool features. So let's say I'm going to take, let's say I've got these 5 images here. I'm going to download them. Download. They did. Where did they download to? Oh, okay. So here are my images. Let's say I've got all these images, and I want to do. I know these are all 4,000. If I look at the information on this, sorry, view options, information, multi-page image information. So we can see these are all. This is 4,000 by 2,200. If I go here, is that options, image, information. So these are different resolutions, but if they're the same resolution, what you can do is you can say file, batch conversion rename, use current folder, convert. And what do you want to do? You can say, well, I'm going to do batch conversion. I'm going to use advanced tools. I'm going to set the long side to 500 bytes. So this setting the long side to 500 bytes, 500 pixels. Let's say I want the width to be 500. I could do it here. So I'm going to set the width to 500. And I'm going to, you can do other things. You can rotate it. You can do auto adjust colors. This use resample. And obviously you have to learn how to use some of these things. So I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to add all of these files here. And then I'm going to start the batch. And it's going to go and convert all those files into that convert directory. And now you can see that all those files have a maximum 500 size on the width. So there are tools to do some batch stuff, but not all batch stuff. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Total Commander, you mentioned earlier that we would have access to the password. For the stuff that I do, with like just basically like you're saying, Word documents, maybe some Excel, and then definitely PowerPoint. Is there any need for me to have access to that, or some of the tricks that you showed right now are going to definitely help out?
Um, Total Commander is just it has a lot of nice features, and would it be specifically so like I like being able to navigate right into zip files. Like that's a huge benefit to me. Sometimes I want to do things like this, which is a let's see, a show quick view panel. So sometimes I just want to be able to see quick views of things. So and there's a that's kind of a nice thing. Um, turn quick view off. Cool. I like being able to sort things from my by dates. That's a huge thing for me. I also appreciate being able to say that there's this Alt F7 feature that says find text in files. So let's say I want to find a um, I want to search all of my files, something that has Gabe in it in that directory. So that'll actually go through everything in that directory, and it'll search all the files, and it'll pull up that file if it has. And this is like searching huge amounts of data, um, but usually I know a little bit closer to where that data is, and it'll tell me where those things are and how I can how to access it quickly.
Got it.
What else? What else do I love having two windows. It's easy for me to like. I can think about copying things from one window to another window very easily. I like being able to easily multi-select. I like being able to save old tabs or close tabs. Um, um, I like being able to drag something like I have the PDF viewers that I like to use for signing and things like that. So I like being able to drag things up to my PDF viewer easily and drag them up to View easily. I use this Lisa button all the time, and all it does is I click on Lisa, and it copies to my clipboard the full file path of the whatever file I was on. Um, I use this button all the time because it just takes me to my downloads where a lot of garbage goes to that's useful. Um, it's we have we have enough licenses for everyone in the company, so um, I actually I buy a few licenses every year because it only costs $25 for the program, and he has saved me so much time based on what the program can do. Um, so, is it necessary? Um, only if you're willing to actually try and learn it, right? It's
Got
like
it.
anything else. Like Lindsay, um, I beat her over the head the other day saying use auto hotkey because it's super useful. And whether she uses it or not, it's only useful if she learns the features of how to do things. But I find the ability to say, well, I want my name. There's my name. I want my signature anywhere. I'm in the middle of a file. I want my signature. There's my signature. It's done. Um, I need my EIN. I need my DUNS. I don't have to look for this garbage. I know. I want my FedEx number. So like tools are really really super useful. Um, like you got me a router for Christmas, and shame on me, but it's just sitting there. I haven't used it, and I know had I spent the 5 hours playing around with some of the bits and using it, I would come up with like, oh, you know what? I could fix this thing at the house, or I could do this, because the tools are amazing. But unless you actually own the tool and say, um, I'm going to utilize it to the extent that you can use it, um, it's just another piece of garbage that's sitting in your garage, sitting on your desktop. That's kind of life, right?
Yep.
So if you talk to uh, any of the engineers that are super productive, they'll say that Total Commander's use is very, very useful. And if you talk to any of the ones that are substandard, they'll say Total Commander is not useful. But I have no strong opinions on this.
Very clear.
Yeah, so later, if you guys want to learn, about auto hotkey, talk to Lindsay.
Okay.
Because we went through it, and she can show you how things work. And I'm also obviously happy to share. Yeah, so that's just a quick overview, quick friggin' 2-hour overview of images. But I'm going to save this as a